Welcome to your weekly podcast. I'm Savannah. I've got Tayson here.
Hi.
Justin.
Hey.
And Jason.
What's up?
Who's in a different place.
We don't have to note that necessarily. Make him feel
3 hours
that.
away place.
But it's more fun that way.
Alright, and we'll be going over your latest video game and movie news. Starting with this story that came out just a few hours ago. Apparently, there's a user who has built a fully functional 1 kilobyte hard drive in Minecraft. This was posted on Reddit by user SmellyString, which is lovely. And he showed his hard drive off in Reddit, obviously. I guess it's more of a tape drive, but I'm not much of a hardware person. Do you maybe have...
Well,
how would this work?
Okay, so if you understand how the transistors and stuff work, I mean, it's doable to build, like, as long as they have the elements in the game to do this, which they do, apparently. They have these things called, they have redstone, and they have these things that sort of act like circuits. And so I guess they have the mechanics to make this work, and so they can make essentially a transistor in this game, and then I guess if you have nothing else to do with your weekend or weekends, you can create a 1 kilobyte hard drive. I mean, it's astonishing. It's huge. Look at it.
Well,
We'll have to post pictures because this thing's intense looking.
Yeah. Well, and the dude is getting a PhD in computer science
earlier today, and I was looking at it, and you're right. It's completely just massive. It takes up such a huge level, just a huge amount of space. But apparently, the redstone circuitry and like the current from the redstone circuitry is affected differently by like opaque blocks and clear blocks, and so different ones. I think it was the clear blocks don't let current through them, whereas the opaque blocks do. So using that, he was able to rig up essentially this. But it also reminded me of, I think it was several months ago, maybe even a year ago, somebody supposedly created a very, very basic but functional like processor, like computer type thing in Minecraft as well. Yeah.
And that was just huge as well. Like, these things are taking up massive amounts of space. Yeah, physical space in game.
You're doing it in the PC version of Minecraft, you have a massive amount of space to use too. So, but yeah, so people have been really, really clever with some of the stuff that they've came up with inside of Minecraft using the redstone circuitry.
Yeah, I read this article earlier today, and it was said in order to store just what's on the article writer's hard drive, it would take 1 billion of these.
Literally.
Jesus.
Can you just imagine like copy and pasting that a billion times?
Gee, I wouldn't know. What I want to know is he building it in creative mode, or is he going for the ultimate cred and mining his own sand to make glass and lava and all the necessary materials?
In that case, this is his thesis.
There you go.
Well, this guy's supposed to be going for his PhD in computer science or something right now. So, I mean, that's very, very awesome. But how much time does the normal computer science PhD candidate have on their hands?
Maybe
that's
this
a
is
very
his
good question.
thesis.
It is summer, so maybe he has like 10 minutes a day.
But you know what? No, PhD students, they don't have any free time.
Well, they also don't have any friends because they don't have any free time.
That's true. None of that pesky social life stuff.
Who needs friends?
Well, and
I don't need you people.
So,
With the handle SmellyString, I mean, really? You know?
So essentially he's just building this hard drive to store an image of the Forever Alone guy?
Yes. That's exactly what this is for.
No, wait. I wonder, 1 kilobyte, with the good enough compression, how good of an image could you store in 1 kilobyte of the Forever Alone guy? Like, I really wonder.
It would probably be 10 pixels.
Yeah,
it'd be like a really bad Minecraft rendition of the Forever Alone guy. So it's very befitting. Now, you see, I'm just sitting here nervous because, like, a few months back, they said if we could ever simulate the Earth inside of a computer system, then that means we probably are a simulation. this is like the first step because we're already simulating the processing necessary to do so.
So meta.
Well, okay, but the thing with that is if you believe that the world is ultimately deterministic, then it's only a matter of time. It will happen. I mean, it might not be able to simulate the entire universe we know, but it will be able to simulate a universe similar to it on a smaller scale. Now, the question of whether or not the universe is deterministic or not, that's kind of, unanswered. Yeah.
So basically, we're in the fucking Matrix.
Yeah. Well.
How was that again?
That's gonna be on. Someone's gonna make a loop of that now. Just 10 hours of.
I will do it.
Okay.
Yeah. Anybody have anything else about this topic, or should we move on to the next one?
Next one works.
All right.
Okay, next up we have the details of Dishonored 2, which I guess was snubbed at E3, but some details have been coming out, namely the sequel name and the main character. I gotta admit, I'm not the expert on this one because I didn't actually play the first Dishonored.
I still haven't finished it.
Yeah, I also have not played the first Dishonored. It looked amazing, and I still want to pick it up, but it did really well, and I was kind of led to believe that there were some questions over whether a second one was actually being made, but I always assumed with how well it did and the reception that it got, that there would obviously be a second one.
Oh, it's true. I've heard nothing but good things, so...
Well, let's put it this way, like, think of... You've played Skyrim, right? Obviously.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Think of the best stealth character you ever made in Skyrim, and that is pretty much this entire game is your stealth character in Skyrim. That is how it is built.
Then I definitely need to go pick it up at some point, because that sounds awesome.
So if you enjoy that, it's great, especially considering how the mechanics work is you can try to be the badass bruiser, but it's like being caught when in your stealth character, so you're constantly backing up, oh shit, hide.
If you ever, if any of you guys ever played the old Aliens vs Predator games, I remember I had you over at my house once to play a binge of Aliens vs Predator 2.
That was a good night. We need to do that.
It reminds, what you guys are saying about this game, because I haven't played the first one either. Go figure. And it really reminds me a lot of when you were playing the Aliens net, because you had to do a lot of thinking about how you were going to approach things, and being able to use the environment in these games is really, really cool, because a lot of games, the environment is static, and it's just there as stuff to look at. It's a background for people to splash blood on, but the blood doesn't really go there because, the world's static. In these games, was it Assassin's Creed I heard was a lot like one of these type of games? I never played that either, but...
It depends on which one you're playing.
Yeah.
Assassin's Creed 3 is just terrible. Don't bother.
Assassin's Creed 3,
harsh.
Yeah, Assassin's Creed 3.
Yeah, don't
Connor.
Don't bother with that.
Oh, that one.
Yeah. But, the first one, it really paid to be stealthy. And then from the second one on, you were basically just the dude running on rooftops, killing whoever the hell you felt like it, because reasons.
So, Batman, if Batman killed people?
Yeah.
Destructo Batman.
Yeah. Oh, no, Joker Batman. Oh. Joker Man.
God. What would that be like?
One more thing.
That's the most terrifying thought I've ever had, actually.
One more thought I had when I sort of skimmed through these articles. I mean, I didn't read them all word for word, but the name of the possible main character, they're thinking of switching from the guy they had in the first one to a child, and the name tells me that it's probably a child of the female variety, which is kind of...
Emily Caldwin.
If I remember right, that was actually... In the first one, you start out as a bodyguard of this kind of royal family, almost.
Right.
And it's a matriarch, and the matriarch dies, and you have to save her daughter. If I remember right, that's the name of the daughter. So.
Okay. More chicks in video games. Woohoo!
Hopefully they're
That's always a
done.
good thing. Yeah.
Okay. Hopefully she wears clothing. That would be nice.
Yeah, that might be nice. And flat shoes, no spike heels.
Flat what? Girls wear flat shoes?
I know, it's crazy, right?
My universe just
that's
exploded.
That's not a thing. I don't believe that.
Pics or GTFO?
Oh God, you're right. I have no proof. Okay, well, clearly we need to cover a game that we actually all play. Or we could move on to the next topic, which I'm certain none of us have seen yet because it hasn't come out yet, which is the NVidia Console. Do people say NVidia or NVidia? I've heard it both ways.
NVidia is generally the common way.
Okay.
I don't really know much about this except for that it's kind of a Steambox clone that will only use NVIDIA hardware.
But to me, it almost seems just like a rebranding and reshipping of their NVIDIA Shield. But they're trying to distance themselves from that. It sounds like the exact same thing. Except for instead of
bigger.
being all in one, it has an actual console portion and a controller portion. But it sounds almost exactly the same as the NVIDIA Shield.
Which is, again, basically a Steambox, but...
Exactly.
Well, and I said this to Justin earlier, that the Shield, I think part of the reason people kind of tend to avoid it, in addition to the fact that it's pretty big and clunky, it's not nearly as sleek as, say, the 3DS or anything like that. It kind of looks like one of those little Chinese knockoff consoles that you can buy in Hong Kong for like $8, and it says, Super Fun Game Time PlayStation... on the front.
Yeah, that's definitely part of it, I would say. But NVIDIA also, not too long ago, launched their Shield tablet. It's a tablet that does the exact same function as the Shield. So I was actually kind of surprised that they're talking about essentially kind of shuttling their Shield line of things and moving to this console, just because it wasn't that long ago that they came out with the Shield tablet to kind of address some of people's issues with the original Shield.
And I heard that pretty much tanked too. Like the article basically says that it's kind of they're trying to get people to actually use their tablet graphics card. I think it's called the Integra or something like that.
I think the newest one is the Tegra K1 processor.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like honestly, it's just like the games you want to play on a mobile device generally aren't the same kind you want to play. Like, say, on your PC or Xbox, it's like, yeah, it would be fun if you're staying in a hotel to not have to lug your Xbox with you. But at the same time, you probably have a DS if that is a concern to you.
I mean, from the original Shield, I liked the ability to stream games from your PC to it, because then if you didn't want to sit at your PC and have that type of a gaming experience, you could still play the same game with the same save files, but you could do it in a more kind of leisurely way, like on a handheld. But to my understanding, that functionality was limited essentially to your house on the same network connection. You couldn't like stream from your PC at home over the internet to your Shield elsewhere. So if you're out on the go, then it was limited to just every game that other mobile devices can do as well. So it never had that much appeal to me, even though that one casting feature like that seemed pretty cool.
Did you ever actually get to like touch the Shield?
I personally never got to touch the Shield. No, I've watched a lot of reviews of the Shield and the Shield tablet from people like Linus Tech Tips on YouTube and stuff like that, and they like it. And I know Linus owns one and he loves it, but he mostly uses it for streaming games from his PC to his Shield when he's at home, just because sometimes he doesn't want to sit at his PC and play that way.
Like, I actually, when I was at PAX last year, I got the opportunity to try to play one, but I apparently picked up the one that just was stuck in a weird loop where it would only go into settings, and one guy actually kind of got mad at me because he's like, we're not allowing anybody to look at the settings at this time, and I'm like, it's not my fault.
It's like, that's all it can do right now. It's like, it was your fault. Fix it.
Yeah. Like,
looks good for the company, right?
Yeah, but like, I have to say, it was not the most comfortable of things to have in your hand.
Yeah, it definitely doesn't seem like they really took any ergonomics into consideration at all with that device.
Yeah, like, remember the original Xbox controller? That big...
Absolutely remember that.
Yeah, like, size of your face. Yeah, that was the NVIDIA. That's how it felt. It was just so freaking huge.
Gotta give them props for sticking to their guns, though. I mean, you know, it seems like they're really doubling down on the whole console business and not just saying, ooh, we're gonna sweep this under the rug and pretend it never happened, like some companies have done in the past.
And I think it's a good idea, and I think somebody is going to do it well. I just don't think anybody out there has done it well yet. I mean, even the Steambox things, those sounded amazing when they first were announced, because it's going to be a standardized form factor PC that's going to be the same price as consoles, but you're going to get PC games on it. And then that just went crazy, because then there was like 40 different versions of it with different levels of hardware. And at that point, it's like, well, why don't I just build a PC at this point? Especially because the first Steambox to launch was Alienware's, I think they called it the Alpha, which doesn't even run the Steam OS. It's running standard Windows for now. So it's not even really a Steambox, even though that's what they're marketing it as.
Yeah, and that's the big thing is Valve has actually pushed launch of official Steam boxes till to 2015. So
yeah,
like everything that's come out to this point really is just a computer that you could put Steam OS on if you wanted to, but there's no such thing as an actual Steam box at this point.
Yeah, it's just a standard PC.
And am I the only one who noticed that like Valve was toting this as like, oh, replace your Xbox practically, and then all of the ones that came out were like $1,000.
Yeah, exactly. It's like that's console gamers' main complaint with PC gaming in the first place is one, price for a gaming PC that gives you really good performance, and two, just the fact of all the different hardwares and the driver issues and things like that. With the computer, sometimes you can sit down to play a game and you have to do like several driver updates and game updates and stuff like that. Whereas with the console, at most you're looking at maybe a system update for your console, which takes way less time because every console has the exact same hardware and it just knows exactly what it needs to do. It finishes it and then you're good to go.
I don't know though. I mean, I feel like a lot of the, NVIDIA and Valve are catching a lot of flack for, making these mistakes. I don't know that it's necessarily fair, though, to compare them to Sony or Nintendo, where they've had, a good, 30 years experience, 30 and 40 years experience building game systems and kind of honing their edge in the market, whereas, these guys are just kind of getting their feet wet.
Yeah, I would agree with that, except for they're the ones that are marketing it as like kill your console type machines, where they're saying it's like, oh, Sony, Microsoft, you don't need any of those. You can just have one of these and you can enjoy PC gaming on a console-like device. They're the ones that drew the comparison in the first place, because if they had just came out and be like, hey, we're going to start trying to do this and it's going to be a really cool thing, thanks for helping us out if you purchase one of these things and we appreciate your support, then that would be completely fine. I would never compare them if they had done that, but they were kind of marketing it as a kill your console device.
Well, and like you said earlier, it's like the reason why it's not a kill your console device is because of the price difference. The price differential is just so great. And one of the things that I've noticed, I mean, because I don't really pay nearly as much attention as, Tayson here, but with the main thing that people were liking about this, even you were talking about your friend, Jason, is that the idea that you can have the processing offset somewhere else. Like, there's a lot of people that like these cloud-based computing, cloud-based gaming, rather, in particular. And really, because you break down any gaming system or PC or anything, you have the processing has to be done somewhere, and then you have an input and an output devices. And what we really need is some sort of easily, like some wireless standards or something for easily pairing wide ranges of input and output devices. And really, it's like with things like this, the reasons they fail is because like you'll need specific hardware. You'll need like high-end NVIDIA stuff to run this one device.
It's all proprietary.
Yeah, exactly. But the thing is then you start getting into gaming PCs. And to get anywhere, like you said, you need to have a pretty high-dollar machine. And then you still end up with patches and driver updates and incompatibilities. But it's always this battle between flexibility and the amount of... Like, you pay the price for the flexibility of a PC. You really do.
Absolutely.
But with this proprietary stuff, you do get streamlined. You can make massive performance gains and a lot less glitches, I guess, when you can control all the variables. So...
Yeah. Absolutely.
Well, and that said, like, the convenience of streaming now it like I don't know who else has done this, but Valve just unveiled their in-home streaming, where you can do your cloud computing just like the NVIDIA Shield. And I actually tried it out on her laptop, which is from, what, 5, 6? How old is it?
Oh, it's not that old. It's maybe 3 years old.
But like, it does not have the graphics computer to even play something like Doom 3. And I just set it up so it was streaming from my computer on the Steam, and it worked really well. Admittedly, it thought I was on a computer from 1991 if anyone touched the internet at all, but, you know.
Yeah, and I mean, that's really gonna be the thing that decides whether game streaming or even cloud-based gaming takes off, is gonna be our internet standards. I mean, in this country, our internet is terrible. We have awful infrastructure for internet, and if we're ever going to do services like PlayStation Now game streaming and have that be the standard to bring the price down on consoles and things like that, we're going to need to invest in fiber networks across the country that deliver essentially at minimum a 1 gigabit per second connection, and hopefully up to 10 gigabit per second connection eventually. And right now, I think the average in the States is like 30 megabit. And some places, like where I'm at right now, the highest I can get here is 8.
Yeah.
So it's really going to depend on the infrastructure of our internet that we develop over the next several years, whether we're even going to be able to use that as a solution at any point.
Well, and even besides that, like, it'll also need to cost less than $200 a month to get that connection.
Absolutely.
For anyone to care.
But, you know, like with that, even if you have lines that can do, like, really, bandwidth only helps so much. Like, once you can take some of the congestion load off of servers in between you and wherever you're talking to, that helps increase latency to a point. But, I mean, there's always going to be, like, with cloud-based gaming, that's always going to be a problem, because that's why I've never really had too much hope for it until the technology radically changes. Because, really, a latency of a couple, like, when you play a multiplayer game now, it is frustrating as all hell if their netcode is even slightly unoptimized. But can you imagine if your controls and your commands had to have that same lag, and then it had to transmit all that back? I mean, this thing with the Shield, you know, and all this, like, this close range game streaming, I see that taking off a little bit sooner than this cloud-based gaming, because with that you only have the one link.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree. The in-home streaming, where you have your machine that does all the work and streams to your other less powerful machines, that's definitely going to take off well before actual game streaming from essentially like Microsoft servers or Sony servers or anything like that. That's absolutely going to be spread out in that manner.
But, you know, one more cool thing about the idea of game streaming that just occurred to me is, because whenever you play a standard multiplayer game, every computer has to have a model of the world, and it's computing all the graphics by itself. Well, imagine, so you're doing that, say if 18 people connected to the same server. 18 things are computing the same graphics in the same world over and over again. Now, what happens if you have one server, like you said, let's say it's Microsoft game servers or whatever, and they have one master server computing this world, and they only have to compute 18 different views on it, and it's all in the same system. That's gotta be more efficient than computing, 18 separate, complete worlds.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and I mean, some games are already kind of doing that with competitive multiplayer. I don't know for sure, but I believe I was reading about, I think it's Halo, like the Halo Master Chief Collection that's gonna come out this November, I believe. And their multiplayer, since they've taken it off into dedicated servers, that's essentially what they're doing, is that server is creating and computing the world and sending out just that information to the consoles, and the only information that the consoles really have to relay back and forth is just the changes in location and action of the players. But the server there just has the world itself just there, and it's just sending that information. So there's one instance of the world, and then the players just send their changes in position and action and everything to that server, and then it's reported back.
You see, what would be really awesome, just to put this out there, hopefully someone from Sony is listening, if Valve did a deal with Sony like they did with Portal 2, where, you know, you could access Steam on Portal 2 on PlayStation, right? Like, if you did that, but it was an app on the PS4 that basically turned your PS4 into a Steam box or stream console.
That would be pretty cool.
Okay. Well, I'm not going to get into that. Cause...
Yeah, we should probably switch subjects now, because I think we've been on this one.
We've been talking about this for a long time.
I'm not going to go there.
About 13 minutes by my count, but I think that's plenty of time. Essentially, I think we've summed it up pretty well. So, on to something a little lighter. The DC movieverse, comic book movies. I guess most recently they're filming, Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice, and they're apparently just not being careful at all about concealing the costumes on set, because Henry Cavill is practically flashing everyone in his little concealing robe, and so now everybody knows that the Superman costume is going to be almost the same as it was in Man of Steel, but with some minor differences.
Yeah, it looked like they changed the color on the S a little bit, which I don't know if that's just my monitor, because I don't have the greatest monitor for color clarity, but seems like a little bit of a minor change to really even bother with it. But, I mean, they're multi-billion-dollar studios, so they can afford to make a change that small and be just fine.
Why the heck not?
That or Superman's entering the Jedi Academy. No. Well, Ted actually would be the Sith Academy because he's black.
Yeah, I would watch that movie. Like,
Superman as a Jedi, it's like, well, that's like giving sharks submachine guns, It's like we're all screwed.
But,
what I really want to know is, how much are they really, because it seems like this last year in terms of movie secrecy, I mean, other than J.J. Abrams doing his stupid magic box thing, or mystery box thing, everybody's kind of like, oh no, the details of this latest film have been leaked. Oh, what are we going to do? I mean, how much of this is plants, and how much of it is plants that are meant to look like plants but really are? Like, how much of this is just, a layered attempt to tell everybody, hey, pay more attention to us, please. We'll feed you all the subtle details you want. I don't know, I'm just rambling at this point.
Any more leaks, any leaks from any company anymore, pretty much, I don't believe are actual leaks. I think they frame them as leaks, but they're essentially just press releases to drum up some more attention and focus people on their product. I'm sure a few leaks that we see are actual leaks, but I don't believe hardly any of them anymore. The only leaks that I might actually believe are leaks are Apple's leaks, and that I'm not even sure of anymore, because while Steve Jobs was there, absolutely, any leak that happened was absolutely a leak, and somebody was probably going to lose their job over it. But now that he's passed away and it's in Tim Cook's hands, I absolutely wouldn't be surprised if their leaks were just press releases framed as leaks.
And that's how you can tell. Like, you can tell it's actually a leak when there's a subset of the article somewhere that says someone got sued because of it.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. It's like, a lot of these are probably just plants, because, think of how much it costs to, actually put a TV spot on, or to actually, all, real marketing. And then you say, well, okay, what if we just use people's own curiosity? And, that's much cheaper than, trying to force people who may or may not want to know anything about this new movie that's coming out. But if you can sort of taunt people who already, these people, this whole community likes this stuff, they already want to know. It's more directed marketing than just shotgunning it like they used to. I think this is a whole new thing.
That's pretty Orwellian right there.
Okay.
Well, when your job, especially in the journalism side of it, when your job depends on you publishing and producing the information faster than everyone else so that they can use you as a source, I think it's kind of like throwing a piece of meat to the dogs, Yeah. I mean, not to say that journalists are dogs necessarily.
It makes for a fun image though of like a bunch of people in like business suits with press passes on all fours, like ripping each other apart over a few pieces of paper.
That's tragic.
I bet it's come to that before. I mean, think about it.
Well, I mean, if you think about, say, the Hall H panels at Comic-Con this last year, what for 18-hour waits for something like that?
And that was for the press. We're not even talking like regular people. The press people were waiting that long.
That's a long time to wait in line, man.
Outside, too, in the heat. Like
Where was it again?
San Diego.
San Diego. Yeah, so this is San Diego. What, late July, was it?
Yeah, it was,
late July.
Like 2.5 weeks ago?
Yeah.
It's like, it'd be funny if you have people with those, those thermal reflective suits they wear near volcanoes. It's like you need those to live down there.
I'm pretty sure that's exactly why like Mythbusters has those, is because that's how they take walks in July.
Anyways.
I personally love how it actually looks like he's from the comics with all of the painted on muscles and everything.
Oh, yes. So they don't have to go and digitally sculpt him afterwards.
Yeah. And he's got, 10 muscles there that don't exist?
Well, look at that. He's got, 11 muscles in his thighs alone. I mean...
And I count... He's not got I think he's got closer to a 12-pack.
It's the Rob Liefeld illustrations of Superman costumes.
It's the 300 special.
Well, it is Zack Snyder. Suppose we should expect that. Sometimes you have to wonder about him. He does love a sleek male form.
Hey, I would be perfectly fine if
comfortable enough in your masculinity to...
Who doesn't like a sleek male form, though? I mean, that's half the reason anyone liked 300.
Oh, man.
300. Mm-hmm.
Did you ever see the second one?
No, I keep wanting to, but I pass Redbox every day. I should get that movie and then keep walking.
Yeah, I need to watch that.
Yeah, I need to as well. I never took the time to do it.
I've heard it's a lot better than the first one, and the antagonist is a strong female character, which doesn't exist in Frank Miller worlds, so...
Not usually, yeah.
See, that's the thing. You wonder if Superman is like the Man of Steel, because I got thinking, he always has the slicked back 50s hair looking thing going, and I always wondered, it's does his hair grow? Because if it does, how does he cut it?
Mirrors and lasers from his eyes.
Oh, okay, yeah, no... Well, wait, wouldn't his eyes burn through the mirrors? I mean, his laser eyes? Because he's Superman.
Well, it depends on...
Right?
It depends on the kind of laser, if it's an actual reflective laser,
Oh, hell, I don't know. See, this is me. I'm trying to put logic into comic book land, and it just...
Dude, that's like trying to decide how Batman actually, Because Batman can fly, but he flies everywhere without any... he doesn't even use the grappling hook anymore. Yeah. It's just always him flying.
It's just like Spider-Man. Spider-Man, because you figure, okay, everyone's played on a swing set, and you can swing and stuff. So you figure, that's how he's getting through the buildings. But then how does he get on the tallest building? He's always on the tallest buildings, right? Where there's, okay.
Well, he's like a tether ball, He spins the web, and then he's the tether ball, and he just whips himself around a million times.
But what if there's a building around? There's always one, all the others are this tall, and then there's a really tall one. And he's always up on the top doing this pose. And it's how did he get up there? It's you see him, it's like the 10 minutes he spent just crawling up there.
No, if you've ever played Spider-Man 2, clear back in the PS2 era,
great game.
it is an amazing game. I love that game. But, to get on top of the Empire State Building, which is the tallest building in the game, you... the tallest building nearby is still a literal 10-minute climb from the top of that tower. So, the quickest way is to just, do the power jump all the way up. And that's how he gets into the big pose, is, at that last time where you're actually jumping from a ledge to the spire, you're and you're whoa.
Maybe that's why he took the elevator in the movie.
Or maybe that's just how he works out. I don't know.
There you go.
He just climbs to the top of the tower.
Got some good work on my lats with this
wall. And cardio is the adrenaline rush from jumping off.
If you figure, like Spider-Man, he has like I don't remember, but it's like he seems to always have muscles, but not like super muscly. Like Superman's usually shown he's got all these muscles because he's Superman, you know. Yeah. But if he's Superman, wouldn't he like? I mean, wouldn't everything be easy for him? I mean, how much lead does he have to pump before he gets a good workout?
I think he just bench presses the moon.
Does he need a workout though?
Yeah, well, I don't know, because you see logic again. I'm going to shut up because this is like, oh, what's better, the Millennium Falcon or the Enterprise? You know, which would win in a race?
You could spend days...
Well, it depends. How many parsecs?
It's a unit of distance, asshole.
Like, I mean, you know, people have covered this topic numerous times. Everything from his laser eyes to his super sperm, whether or not it would murder Lois Lane, or like... his, you know, whether it would be more useful instead of having him fight crime for him to just power a gigantic turbine to power the world. Like, it's so extensive, and ultimately it's just a story about a dude who's almost Jesus saving a bunch of people. I mean, you know.
But you know what story did that a lot better? Captain America.
I knew you were going to go there. Well... Speaking of good-looking dudes in movies, Benedict Cumberbatch, he's in a lot of great stuff.
See, if you just put that in the tagline, we'll get millions of views right there.
Benedict Cumberbatch, he's here. Be a cumber bitch, yo. I mean, I shouldn't say that because he really hates that, but... So he's, I guess, just signed up for the role of Shere Khan for Warner Brothers' production of The Jungle Book Origins, which is not to be confused with Disney's remake of The Jungle Book featuring Idris Elba as Shere Khan. And,
oh, dude, that's a hard choice.
Oh, I know.
Because Idris Elba is, like, the badass right now.
Yeah.
That's true. And then they've also got Bill Murray slated to play Baloo, which... Bill fucking Murray, I mean, come on!
I'm just imagining Bill Murray as a giant bear.
Wait,
Bill Murray
so
is a giant
for those of us... For those of us who don't know, who... You said the Disney remake of Jungle Book, Shere Khan was voiced by who?
Have you seen the new Sherlock from BBC?
No.
You've seen Star Trek Into Darkness, right?
Yes.
The guy who plays Khan. Hey, Khan!
No, I know this is Khan. No, I was talking about the other one, the other person she mentioned.
Oh, Idris Elba?
Yeah.
The badass general from Pacific Rim, the black guy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like, and he played Heimdall in Thor as well. Yeah. Like, that guy is awesome. Like, really in his spare time, he races cars. And not like on the road, like full on dirt, like he gets in wrecks that almost kill him regularly, but then walks away as is himself as a badass. Like, he is the man I want to be. Idris Elba. That is the man I want to be.
Back to Benedict Cumberbatch.
Yes. Let's hear about Benedict.
So he will be voicing the role, and we already know he's got voice acting chops from his acting as Smaug the dragon in The Hobbit, which...
Nothing like being a red great worm.
Exactly. I don't know. I'm starting to wonder. He's definitely got the voice for those very... powerful, kind of unnerving sort of roles. I'm just hoping he doesn't get sick of being pigeonholed as this very intelligent, present sort of... Can you get tired of being cast as that sort of character?
So can you be tired of being cast as Sherlock?
Well, just ask Morgan Freeman.
Oh, there you go.
Like, he even comes out like... Did you ever see the Morgan Freeman science show where he hosted?
Like, through the wormhole?
Yeah. Like, just something about that show, it felt like, I am God and science is true. Like, that is that show.
We should make the Christians watch it.
It's like...
I guess I should clarify the fundamental Christians.
Yeah, religion.
I'm not being offensive, I promise.
How I did it. by God. You know, it's pretty much what that Through the Wormhole reads like. Because it's like, I mean, yeah, you saw Young Frankenstein, or How I Did It, Victor Frankenstein. Well, it's like, Through the Wormhole with Morgan Freeman is like, How I Did It by God. You know?
If I did it.
Yeah, well, yeah.
I was mostly making fun of O.J. Simpson, but you know.
O.J. Simpson, that's a relevant name.
Yeah. That's been relevant for the past, 20 years?
Yeah.
He somehow keeps making himself relevant. I mean, it's almost like Mike Tyson,
honestly,
but less entertaining.
I'm kind of impressed by that fact, is he keeps managing to come back into modern, pop culture somehow.
And yet it's always about the murder of his ex-wife.
Absolutely.
Every time.
We should just stop talking about him so we don't give him the validation.
So we should all just blatantly ignore his existence?
Let's talk about fond memories of The Jungle Book, so that we kind of semi-remain on topic.
Yeah.
I liked that show as a kid. All I remember is that the Beatles are the vultures.
I didn't know.
Well, I thought it was the monkeys were the vultures.
Oh, it might have been the monkeys.
You know,
that's confusing.
That Jungle Book they had, I don't know.
Oh, like the mid-90s live-action ones?
That one. I love that one. And I can't remember the name of the guy that starred as...
Mowgli?
Yeah. But he does a lot of martial arts and stuff. Yeah.
She's the fact-checker because she has the keyboard in front of her.
Here we go.
Yeah, because I remember that guy's really, really cool.
Oh, and he's good-looking. Okay.
Jason Scott Lee, that's him.
Jason Scott Lee, also famous for...
Back to the Future 2?
Yeah.
Lilo and Stitch? What?
I didn't know he was in either of those.
But
it's like Dragon, the Bruce Lee story.
Balls of Fury.
If you've never seen that, highly recommend that. That's a good movie.
Okay, Oh, he's David in Lilo and Stitch. Okay, that makes so much more sense.
Yeah.
Where were we going with this? He's motoring...
Nothing. I was just mentioning. I just said it was really, really good. I mean, I didn't think you were gonna make a thing out of it.
Oh, well, I have to know. I have to look it up.
She's the moderator. It's her job to make things of everything.
Yeah.
No, but okay. Back to on topic then. I guess. Khan, in other words. I think that if anyone was gonna be the voice of a really scary Bengal tiger. You know?
No, that's perfectly valid. I can definitely agree with that.
So, Jason, do you have opinions?
On this, not really. I like Benedict Cumberbatch. I don't plan on seeing this movie, but I bet he does a great job just because he's a good actor.
Well, this one is supposed to be a little bit more like the Jungle Book, like the book, the written by Rudyard Kipling, where it's a lot darker. It's almost more of a prequel, and so I'd be interested to see what direction they take with it in that sense. It's definitely not going to be necessarily a kids movie.
Yeah, I don't expect that. I mean, it's probably going to be a good movie, but it'll probably be a movie that I watch on Hulu or Netflix after it's come out.
Oh, Killjoy.
I love that. I love that cultural transition we're going. Instead of, I'll catch it on video or I'll catch it on DVD, it's now I'll catch it on Netflix.
Yeah, absolutely it is.
I mean, what was it, World War Z has only been out for a month and a half on to buy, and it's already on Netflix, and just no one buys movies anymore, do they?
Not really.
I don't see that.
You know, one more thing I want to mention about Benedict Cumberbatch. I never said his last name. It's really long. But the thing is, he's going to be playing Alan Turing in a movie coming up. Code breaking during World War II, and it looks absolutely phenomenal. It's got Keira Knightley in it too. I think.
You mean he gets to be the hero for once?
Yes.
Oh,
well, kind of a tortured hero guy, because Alan Turing commit suicide?
I think so.
Not to spoil the movie, you know.
I never would have caught that on the Wikipedia.
I know, but I'm really looking forward to that. So.
All right. Well, thank you for letting us know that exists. I had no idea.
Yeah, I didn't either. Sounds interesting.
Okay, well, you mentioned, people don't really buy movies anymore, but sometimes the entertainment industry can be particularly cruel to streaming services. Our next little topic of conversation is that Xbox they had their the Xbox Entertainment Studios. They were trying to produce watchable content for the Xbox, but obviously, I mean, that started in 2012. They kind of shut it down after it didn't have a whole lot of content. Now they're trying to bring it back and sell it to Machinima Studios. Although this is more of a rumor than anything else. I mean, what do we make of this? Is this kind of more of a cash grab thing? Is it
I think
an act of desperation?
I'm a little bit annoyed with the rumor because I believe Microsoft is probably planning to ship off Xbox Entertainment Studios to somebody who wants to buy it. I think that's pretty well been almost confirmed at this point, but I don't feel like they really gave it enough time because it hasn't so far produced a lot of content, but one of the flagship content pieces that they announced for it originally was the Halo Nightfall miniseries that's going to be shipping with the Halo Master Chief Collection in November, and that was like one of their flagship things that they were rallying Xbox Entertainment Studios around, and that piece hasn't even launched yet. So they're kind of shuttling the studio before their main content is even out to see whether it can create really good content for people to watch. So I think it's a little bit premature.
You know, I could probably agree with that. But at the same time, you know, in the age of the instant download, is it not possible that they could have put something together? I mean, I know there are probably hundreds of thousands of producers and writers out there who would jump at the chance to produce a series for this, probably for dirt cheap, because starving artists, right? So I have to wonder what was the thought process behind that particular studio to think, why don't we wait for this flagship series that isn't going to come out until, well, now it's been pushed back to 2015, before we start producing any real content that people are genuinely going to want to watch, you know?
To my understanding, it was meant to produce like really high quality content that you would see in a movie theater or on like HBO and stuff. So that stuff has a really long production cycle. So that would be my
That's valid.
assumption on why it takes so long for them to get something. Because I mean, they have really long production cycles if they're creating things that are similar to movies or high-end miniseries. And the Halo Nightfall one, I mean, that's gonna be out in the next couple of months, and I mean, it has really big potential to be good and launch the studio, especially because they have Ridley Scott as the executive producer. So it really could have probably done something and boosted the studio. And I think that the reason we haven't seen anything from them yet is that long production cycle. But I also think that the reason Microsoft is kind of getting rid of the studio is because Sony has been kicking their ass ever since launch with the PlayStation 4 versus the Xbox One. And one of the perceived reasons is because Sony originally focused on games and the gamers and just getting people their gaming console and giving them the best experience. Whereas Microsoft kind of launched trying to be this giant media company that you come to for every form of media, and that kind of bit them in the ass. And so they're trying to get away from that image, but at the same time, Sony's kind of slowly and silently moving towards that image where they're trying to get to that. So I think that Microsoft, if they would have just held on a little bit longer with their entertainment studio, I actually think it would have been a really big thing for them. But I think they are getting rid of it to try and get away from that media like center image that they painted for themselves at the beginning of the launch for the Xbox One.
I mean, they might not end up selling it at all. I mean, this is just a rumor, but...
Well, and one thing with any company like this, because, I mean, like you said, it seems premature. I mean, even to people like us that are out of the loop. And so, really, with big companies like that, it seems like what they do is they sort of copy each other. They do what everyone else is doing, and they try and do it a little better. But to completely stop, pursuing a whole line like this, it just seems like someone must think they have a better idea somewhere. You know, I mean, if they were to just drop this whole machinery to go down this route. So I don't know what else they would be doing.
I bet you what happened is they couldn't figure out how to require Kinect integration with it. So, because there was no voice commands during the show, to say step right or left or some shit.
Yeah, and I mean, that's definitely true. Is we're outside of the company. We don't know all the little details of what's going on in there. So it could have been a smart move, or there might be another reason for it. But as somebody from the outside looking at it, seems just a little weird that they would get rid of it so soon.
Okay, well, I think we have time for one more of the stories.
We could just rapid fire them. Like, we have a minute to say yay or nay.
Just rapid fire. Let's go through whatever ones we got left. Let's do it.
Okay. Well, okay. Rapid fire number 1. So Robin Williams passed away pretty recently. Everyone said, please let's start putting him in our games because he was one of us and we love him and it's a great loss to this community. And so Blizzard Studios came up and said, we're going to take care of it. They're rumored to have released not released a model, but there are a few in the works, a few named Robin the Entertainer, but it looks like they're mainly just recycled models from previous expansions. Do we say it's a great thing, or do we say build one from scratch or don't bother?
I say something with his name on it, period, is good enough for me.
Yeah, and I agree with that. Something with his name on it would be good enough, but the models that they released are a guy that looks kind of like him, a genie-looking thing, and just a woman model. And I heard some rumors that it's possible that his character, the standard male model, will transform between those different ones, essentially taking on different characters for different reasons. And if that's true, because all those models had the exact same name in wherever they were found, if that's true, that would be really cool to have him transition between essentially these different roles, because the female model is assumed to be like a throwback to Mrs. Doubtfire, whereas the magic type guy is obviously a throwback to Genie from Aladdin.
They have one in like a trench coat with a beard for Goodwill Hunting.
I haven't seen anything like that
I gotta
yet,
say one thing about this standard model guy. To make it look more Robin Williams, it needs more arm hair.
Yeah.
It really does. I mean, I know this isn't final, but...
He needs to talk about golf a lot.
Yeah.
Well, depending on which character they're going to make him, I mean...
Needs to spontaneously say, it's not your fault.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. Oh, Captain, my Captain!
But yeah, so I'm just glad to see that they're doing something with it to honor him, and Nintendo has kind of been reached out to as well to do something similar. They haven't really announced anything that they're doing, but they said that they kind of honored his name and said it's like, we've worked with him before and we absolutely love him and his family, and we were sad at his passing. So if nothing else, that's good enough, but they may do something to put him in a game as well and kind of
I hope so.
Memorialize him.
It'll be really interesting to see what companies do to honor him, because there is no doubt that there are going to be quite a few homages to him in the weeks to come. So we'll just have to update on that later.
Absolutely.
Okay. Rapid fire number 2. There's a rumor going around that Sony is readying a new PS4 with 1 terabyte of storage for this fall.
And everyone's sitting here thinking, why the hell wasn't this standard like 5 years ago?
I'm actually thinking that why the hell would they bother when it has a replaceable hard drive that you can put in yourself for probably a lot cheaper?
Probably.
What if they just didn't have it come with a hard drive, and then, because, I mean, the word cloud has been thrown around so much. Again, we come back to the whole idea of cloud data, and why don't they just not have a hard drive standard, take that out of the cost, and then just have it do like a Xbox Live type thing, or like
a PS4 Lite, almost?
Yeah. I mean, they could be doing that.
Because no one bought the Xbox version of that exactly?
Yeah, but if you could just throw in any hard drive you want.
True.
You know what this is to me is just, it's coming out in the fall. It's coming out right before the holidays. It's just the easiest way for moms to go to the store and say, I'm going to get my Billy the best game machine, so get me the most expensive model, and they will do it, and she will buy it, and the economy will prosper. Hooray!
Is it actually more expensive? That's
absolutely what they're aiming at, is just making it easier for people to get that and being able to charge them a little more, because there are some people who either don't know how or don't want to replace the hard drive in their PlayStation 4. So this is a good option for those people. And I've seen rumors that it's possible that this model, the 1 terabyte model, may be part of a bundle where you get like a couple of games and extra controller and stuff like that for a premium bundle that you can get. And coming out, like you said, before the holidays, that would probably be true, just because those are very popular at the holidays.
Makes sense.
And in the article itself, it actually says that the price difference is only like, according to their sources anyway, only like $20 between the two.
Oh, yeah, but if you bundle it with some extra controllers and upcoming game title, you could really jack it up by quite a bit if you wanted to.
True.
Yeah.
But like, it's like I was saying, you can get $200 PCs now with terabyte hard drives. They're so freaking ubiquitous that I think it's a little ridiculous that it didn't just start with one. Like, am I the only one feeling that way?
I feel that way with all the consoles, is they all should have started with a 1 terabyte hard drive, especially now that they're talking about like downloading videos and music and installing these games, and games are now at 40, 60 gigs a piece. And Xbox just announced that they're going to have an Xbox One Call of Duty Advanced Warfighter Edition. It's going to have a 1 terabyte hard drive, and that particularly pisses me off with Xbox, because Xbox doesn't have a replaceable hard drive. And so by buying it early and being an early adopter for their system, which is selling horribly, you kind of get punished, because then you don't get as good of a version. They have support for external hard drives now, which is great, but I don't always want to pack around an extra hard drive with me if I'm going to a LAN party or something to have all my games with me. So I'm kind of annoyed at them. Sony, not so much, because you can replace it with almost whatever size hard drive you want. So I'm more annoyed with Xbox than I am with Sony. I think this will be fine. I don't really think it's a cash grab. I think it's just something to make it easier for the consumer to buy what they want.
All right.
Real quick point of clarification. LAN parties still happen? People play with each other in the same room?
Absolutely.
You know what?
I like that.
I love LAN parties.
Oh, I love them too. I'm just saying, like, the last time I went to one was 3 years before I moved out of my old house, so that was like 4 years ago.
Yeah, they're obviously not as popular anymore, but yeah, they still happen occasionally. Plus, I'm in a small town. LAN parties are super easy. It's like, hey, do you want to drive 5 minutes and come to my house and play Halo for 7 hours? Yeah, sure, why not?
Whereas he drove an hour just to be in this podcast. So.
Exactly. It's super easy where I'm at.
Dedication.
Okay.
Well, final topic of conversation for like the next 3 minutes is this one comes from Game Zone. They apparently have released pictures of new skins for Super Smash Brothers.
Literally. Skins.
Quotations everywhere.
The next Super Smash Brothers for Wii U and 3DS are going to include extra skins for Samus, which appear to mainly involve her dressed in nothing but a sports bra and some booty shorts. Doesn't seem terribly practical.
I don't really have a problem with that, because, I mean, that is actual, like, clothing that women wear in the real world for physical activity. You can go to any gym or on any running path or anything and see people in similar things, except for possibly the shoes. Those look ridiculous. I have no idea what the hell that is on her feet, because they don't look like shoes. So I don't really see it. Honestly, to me, even though this one obviously shows way more skin, I feel like the standard Zero Suit Samus is way more kind of, I'm not really sure of the word, but just like way more objectifying, I guess, than this particular alternate skin.
Yeah, my aunt actually, I think her entire wardrobe is just that, with like sweatshirts for the winter. So,
well, I don't really necessarily have a problem with the outfits themselves. I think it's because it is actually based on outfits that you can see Samus in Metroid Fusion and Metroid Zero Mission. I think it's more just it appears that it's going to be one of those kind of unlockable things. So what exactly, when it's not a practical outfit for Samus herself, I mean, she's walking around on alien planets packing, freaking laser rifles, missiles in her suit.
The original Zero suit
There's not really a whole lot of practicality there.
Either. The original Zero suit isn't practical either. That's for when she loses her actual suit, which is what in a normal Metroid game she would be in, because obviously, like you said, she's on alien planets and stuff. The regular suit is what you would use. So, I don't know. It's just kind of weird.
There is kind of a precedent for it, though. I mean, in the previous Super Smash Brothers, you would get the Zero suit after expending a very large amount of power, and, it came with its own ups and downs. I mean, you got access to extra weapons because of the added mobility, but you also lost a lot of the power, much as it was in when you played Metroid Zero Mission. I think it's just more of a, it shows more of, I don't even know how to explain it.
It does, like, I agree, I don't really have a problem with the outfit itself, but it does seem a little unnecessary and possibly, like, tacked on, like, we're just gonna make her sexy real quick, and it's just like, you didn't need to. It's Samus.
Yeah.
No one plays Samus because they think she's sexy, even though she is.
Yeah,
I
play
Samus
agree with that, because in the article, I can't remember where it's at, but one of the developers says, like, looking at the number of days we have left, I didn't think it would be possible to do this, and then it's like, oh, we've done it. It's like, that makes it seem like it was rushed and kind of tacked on, and just for extra, like, sex appeal, which is annoying. I mean, don't do that if you don't need to do that, but the outfit itself, I don't find that big of an issue with. If it is like an unlockable, it's like, oh, if you do these things, you get to see sexy Samus, then I have an issue with it. But it's definitely, my issues with it are going to be with how it's presented. If it's just an alternate costume, then I have zero problems with it at all. But if they present it in a different way or something like that, then there could be some issues from it.
I could definitely see maybe a little bit of backlash, just because I'm sure those of us gals out there who, Samus is our homegirl, we're still a little bit sensitive from Metroid Other M.
Which is completely legitimate, because that game...
And I was just about to bring that up, and, like, even for anyone who isn't, Samus's homegirl, as she says, like, just the fact that it reminds us of Other M, that pile exists at all.
Yeah.
So it's a good thing I don't...
Yeah, no, you'd be glad you don't know what Other M is.
Okay, good.
Yeah, it's a good thing to not know in this case. This is one case where ignorance actually is bliss.
Which is almost never anymore.
Yeah. Truth.
And unless it's about, someone's Twitter breakfast cereal.
I think there's something. Oh yeah, Transformers 2: Revenge of the Fallen. I think that would have qualified for ignorance as bliss.
I think I scrubbed that.
Yeah.
I will never be able to forget Robot Scrotum. I'm sorry. It's there forever.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Now I had forgotten.
Sorry, guys. Misery loves company.
Does this mean we're out of time?
Does anybody?
I think we're out of time.
Anybody have anything else real quick before we go? Nope.
No.
Okay.
Yep.
First podcast's over. Yeah. Wait.
Don't sound too excited.
Yeah. Okay.
That was the wait. It's like, wait, no, it's a bad thing. We're done.
Yeah.
Wait. Well, not a bad thing.
We're gonna miss you guys.
We're gonna miss the internet and all your terrible comments.
Okay. Oh, be nice.
Nah, niceness is overrated. Audience, I love you, but fuck you as well at the same time.
Oh, this is gonna go swimmingly. I can just tell already.
Oh.
The internet, the truest expression of the human spirit. So.
Or at least the ones who want to talk about it on the internet.
Yeah, so.
Thanks for tuning in. Once again, I'm Savannah. This is Tayson, Justin, and Jason.
Hey.
Follow us at the various links posted below, and we will see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah.